4. This public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe or listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are utilizing Zoom conferencing software for this electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting through dialing the following phone: 929-205-6099. Meeting ID number is 869-075-36632, or using the previously provided link. We previously gave the notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting, including how to access the conference call via phone. If anyone has a problem, please email bossecretary@newtonet.net. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. I am going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So let me just do this. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Including Hillary.
So here we are. I'd like to ask if the board has a motion coming out of non-public that somebody on the board would like to make.
I move to, actually, it's not that we already came out of non-public, but I would like to move to seal the minutes of the non-public until such a time that the board feels it is no longer wise or prudent to do so.
Okay, get a second on that.
Second.
Second by Kate. Roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Matt is an aye, so that's unanimous. So we're going to go right to scheduled business, and I believe Mr. Perrin is here to talk to us about census numbers. So welcome, Mr. Perrin.
All righty, 1 second, let me get off my mute here.
Yep, looks good. I think
Mr.
actually,
Perrin is on mute.
yeah, you got off mute and then you got on again. So if you hit it one more time, I think you're in good shape.
Unmute.
There you go.
There we go. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. This new technology, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm old school. Anyway, good evening. Thank you very much for having me in for this meeting. I'll be very, very brief. No more than 3 or 4 hours. Now that I have your attention, my name is Richard Perrin. I'm the 2020 Partnership Specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau. I live over here in Boston, and my designated territory is Rockingham County. Just a couple of quick points about the census. Very, very easy to fill out. It takes about 8 minutes to complete the form. We did it in about that time. My neighbors down the street let the kids do it. It was a good teaching tool. They did it as well. And if you need help to filling out the form, there's a toll-free number you can call. I'll send this information along to you. It's 844-330-2020. Right now, there are 12 languages in addition to English on the phone and 59 languages available online, up to 59. The census is safe. Point 2, the answers are confidential, they're secure. We have to take an oath to make sure the information is secure. Violators are subject to a severe penalty, quite frankly, up to 5 years in prison and up to a $250,000 fine. And quite frankly, I can afford neither, so I do keep it straight and level. The census will never ask for your full Social Security, no money, no donations, nothing on behalf of a political party, and no credit card information, anything like that, and nothing on citizenship. We get a lot of questions on that, so there's nothing on citizenship. Lastly, it's very, very important. We're still getting the word out about the 2020 census. It's probably going to go past the 3rd quarter. It's very vital importance to every city and town, because the people that depend on funding of any kind, whether it's school, community, or lunch programs, or sports, or whatever, SNAP, that's determined by the amount of count on the census. So obviously, the higher the count, the better the funding. There's $675 billion that states will be receiving to their state and local programs determined by those census numbers. So the response rate right now in Newton is actually very, very good. First off, New Hampshire is right at the national level. New Hampshire and the national level are tied at 62.3%. Newton is doing better, which is great for you folks. It's 69.1%, which puts you 59th in the state out of 234. So you folks are doing very, very well. Obviously, we want to get the numbers higher, so you'll be able to get the funding that you deserve, and each person will be counted to a complete count. So basically, that's about it. I do have a way of sending you information. I'll send it along to the town. It's a media toolkit. You can put information on your website, on your newsletters, on your Facebook page. The most important thing to put on there really would be 2020census.gov. And that links you to how to sign up, fill out the forms. That links you to all the information you can need. It has maps on it to show the response rates, and has some very good videos too, so some that you can put on. The Portsmouth Library was using it. So you can use anything you like. I'll send you about 12 yards of information, but you may only need one. So you can use whatever you'd like in that kit. So it works out very well. Just take a look at it. Also, if you need information, I can drop it off, send it, flyers, yard signs, posters. I'm in the neighborhood, so I can drop by information. Excuse me. Anything else that you folks need, let me know. Any questions?
Do you have any numbers?
Numbers in Newton, right as they say, you're at 69.1% of the response rate.
Oh,
So that's a very, very good number compared to some of the towns that are not so good. It's 59th in the state, so you're in the top 60. There's some towns up north that are only in the believe it or not, still in the teens. So we do have a couple of areas down the beach which we're working on as well to try to get the state numbers up. But as I say, Newton is very good right now. So you folks are really, but anything else you could do to increase it, you folks are the trusted voices. You people, they obviously know you. They deal with you folks every day. So anything that you could give out, again, post it on the website, Facebook, newsletters, it can only help. Because this is only once every 10 years. And the numbers and the funding will last every 10 years until the next one, 2030. Which are actually, they're starting to get that together, believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm sure. So Diane, if we don't have this on our website already, you can put it out there for us, and that when we put a link out there, it emails everybody on that list. So that should help. And for those who haven't just heard what you've said, I agree. It's important to stand up and be counted because it reflects on funding we get in the town and all. And in terms of elected officials, make sure we get proper representation. But I don't think Newton's going to go beyond 2 people in the State House, Charlie. But
you never know.
no.
You never know. You never know. So
you're right. The one thing I did not mention, it does determine congressional districts and also voting precincts for that matter. So,
right.
So you get the higher the number, the better the funding, which translates to show me the money.
Yep, exactly. All right. So any other questions for Mr. Perrin? Well, we thank you for coming on with us and waiting a minute till we could
That's
get.
fine. That's quite understandable. Not a problem at all. Happy to help.
Thank you, and let us know if we down the road as we get closer to the end, if we need to do any more communication. But
I'll be in touch with Diane, and I'll send that information along in an email probably in the morning, and she can look at it and determine it from that. Again, if you need anything from me, definitely stay in touch. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too, and please stay safe.
You too. All right. Continuing on with the scheduled business, does anybody care if I skip down to letter F, intent to cut? Because I think I see the resident online here, and I don't want to make him wait. We have to stay on this meeting all night, but others don't. Everybody okay with that? So this is an intent to cut for tax map 12-2-22-4 and 12-2-22-5. And I want to give the resident an opportunity here. Mr. Scally, if you'd like to address this at all. I think you may be on mute.
There we go.
Whoop. I think that'll-
Go ahead, Bob, you're all set.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I didn't, I guess I started, cutting over there and I didn't understand what was going on with this, intent to cut. And, what it is I purchased 2 lots, over on Thornell Ave, 26 and 28. And, I purchased them out of a subdivision, I guess that was in current use. And I didn't realize what that meant. I do have land in Maine that's under current use and it's forestry land, but I didn't realize what was going on with this land. And I thought that the current use tax and everything, which was held at escrow on the sale by the seller, took care of the current use. So I didn't realize there was a permit out for, that was needed for the intent to cut. I was informed of that on Thursday of last week by the police chief. And I mean, he was very polite and courteous about it. And I was on another job in Newton, New Hampshire, shut the job down, which was I also got the forms from Nancy. She was very helpful and helped me fill them out and I dropped them off. So I guess the forms are there for you guys to look over. I think people were intending that they're cutting all 4 acres of property. And I'm just cutting off the trees in the areas that the house and the septic system need to be installed. So I believe that comes to just under 1/4 of an acre on each 2-acre lot. And I think I filled out all the necessary paperwork properly. And I'm also waiting for a response from the forestry guy. She gave me a number for a forestry guy. So I think everything is in order unless I'm missing something else. So I apologize for not knowing about the intent. I guess it's a statewide law. I've built in Kingston, East Kingston, Kensington, Seabrook, New Hampshire, and never had run into this before. So hopefully the permit applications will clear things up. Thank you.
Okay, so Nancy, is that true? I know we talked about this offline. Do you have the necessary paperwork at this point? Anything we're missing?
Yeah, so we have it. No,
All right, I can't hear Nancy, so maybe Nancy can give us an okay sign if everything is okay. So Nancy's got the proper paperwork. So, you know, I, for one, speaking as a single board member, I appreciate the fact you came to the meeting and let us know where the mistake was and that you've rectified the mistake. You know, we have these rules, fortunately or unfortunately, we have the rules and we enforce them. So that's why we had to do what we had to do last week. So anybody else on the board have any questions for the resident or anything?
No, but I will make a motion to sign the intent to cut for, where is the
Oh,
map block
222.
lot? Lot 12-22-4.
Do you want to do them both in one shot?
I can, and the intent to cut for lot 12-2-22-5.
Can I get a
Since all
second?
I'll second it since all the paperwork's in order.
Okay, so Charlie's our second, and let's do a roll call vote. Larry, how do you vote? I think I heard it. Charlie,
Aye.
Kate,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
and Matt's and I, so that is unanimous. So that is all set from the Board of Selectmen's perspective. So I think you are good to go, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night. All right, I'm going to skip back up to letter B, which is a resident is requesting a firework ordinance. Are we expecting a resident on, Diane?
I believe Kim, excuse me, Kim Valiant is on.
Okay. Is
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm on.
how are you tonight?
Great. How are you?
Not bad. Thank you for waiting a little bit here, and thank you for joining us. So we wanted to give you an opportunity to discuss what your idea is and maybe the reasons behind it, whatever you think is necessary for the board to know at this point.
Okay. I submitted a letter. I've also submitted attachments with ordinances from other towns. I explained in there a lot of the residents, a lot of them have reached out to me. We're experiencing a lot of very loud fireworks that we've never experienced before. I understand the reasons for it, and that's really not relevant. It's just that it was very disruptive, and we have a lot more residents in town now. I explained how the firework manufacturers are getting around the laws. So the fireworks that are being sold, the cherry bomb like M80 like fireworks are very legal. They're able to manipulate the chemical composition to make the loud bangs and still be legal and compliant with regulations. So those regulations, noise ordinances, would really no longer serve us very well. The residents that have reached out to me have had a lot of concerns, and it was interesting because I just did a post on social media, which I don't normally do, just kind of stating that I was having a problem, and a lot of great recommendations came out to me about things that I could do, which I really appreciated. But then folks reached out to me individually, privately, and shared with me horror stories. So throughout the town, and this hasn't been my experience, so I'm very fortunate, people have tried to approach neighbors and asked for consideration, and what they were met with, borderline, getting very physical and violent. So the consideration that neighbors used to extend to one another seem to have been lost this time. I heard stories about animals. People had animals that were really traumatized by these loud fireworks and continuous. It wasn't just one day. It wasn't just within a certain amount of hours. We listened to these constantly. In the middle of the night, people have M80s going off. They have the kids being woken up. Heard about residents with PTSD, veterans. One veteran responded that, he's fortunate enough not to be afflicted with it, but, and good for him, but that's not everyone. So I'm not interested in the debate over whether we keep them or not. I provided a couple of ordinances. I'm proposing that we follow the one. Plastow seems to have a very comprehensive one, and it basically makes it illegal. So my understanding is either a board can put an ordinance through and they can support it and we put it on a ballot, or a resident can propose it with 25 signatures. So I'm really just interested in what the process is, and if the board wants to support putting an ordinance in place that prohibits fireworks in Newton, then good. And if not, then I will move forward with putting one together. And if you just explain to me or correct me, is it 25 residents? So that's really where I am, those two options.
That would be 25 registered voters, to be precise.
Okay, thank you very much. And are those 25, are their names made public? Because I've heard about some ramifications some of these people have suffered.
I believe a petition is public knowledge, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, okay, good to know, thank you.
So I think what you're describing, and maybe somebody else on the line knows better than I, but I think what you're describing is you petition for an ordinance, you have we help you hold a public hearing. And I believe at a public hearing, anyone can speak during the time frame of the public hearing for or against, and then the Board of Selectmen votes. That's how we typically do an ordinance. Is that correct?
My understanding was a little different. My understanding is that a board could go ahead if they have a proposal out there and have the residents come and vote, and they have a discussion on it. And then amongst the board members, you decide whether you're going to put it on the ballot or not. But my understanding is the residents also have a right to put an ordinance on the ballot without a discussion. And someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I totally understand what you were saying. I wasn't specifically asking you, but I was asking some of our town staff. Are we talking, I should have put it this way. Are we talking about a warrant? Is this, because I believe ordinances we can do without a warrant article. Is that correct?
So Matt,
Nancy?
may I speak?
Go ahead, Larry.
Matt? So I would prefer if we have a public meeting on it, if we did the ordinance. And I'm in all favor of a cap, but not getting rid of it 100%. Cap it at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock. I believe like an hour and a half is plenty of time to shoot off your fireworks on July 4th. But I think just a public meeting, then we can set the ordinance. I don't think it needs to go to a warrant article.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, but I'm hoping, I've asked the question a couple times now. Anybody know on the phone?
I am checking. I think it can go either way.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because the reason I asked the question is because the best way to do something like this, I feel, is a warrant article.
I agree.
Everybody gets to vote, and it's a public opinion poll. If you are in favor of the warrant article, you go and, get people to vote your way. If you're not in favor, you get people to vote your way. No one can really come back and say, I was not asked about it. Everyone was asked about it. I do know, and I think I'm answering part of my own question, I do know we've changed ordinances in the town, whether it be the beach or Greenie Park, where we've just done it as a board and we've had a public hearing. But I personally, and again, I'm one vote, I'd like to see this go on a warrant article.
So this is Kim again. So I would agree. And the reason why I don't think it's a good idea to have a discussion is because if you go on any of the Facebook pages, this is a very inflammatory topic. So tempers are going to flare, and you're not going to get people on either side convinced to listen to the other side, has been what I'm hearing. So I think if we put it as a warrant, everyone in town has the right to vote, and then whatever the outcome is, we deal with the outcome.
So just so you know, if it's on the warrant, there is still a hearing. There's a public hearing on the whole warrant, just so you're aware.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm just, from what I've seen, that's not going to be a pleasant meeting.
Yeah.
But everyone will get to have their say,
Right.
There's a lot of topics out there, and some people are feeling like having the fireworks taken away altogether is infringing upon their rights. They're not looking at the consideration part. So I understand Larry wanting to, take the middle road and do a compromise. The only thing I would say about that is that the inconsiderate neighbors that people have had that are lighting off those loud fireworks, it's still going to be 2 hours of people having to deal with that, or whatever you put the time frame up as. And I mean, I have heard of M80s being, shot at houses and stuff, and the residents have complained to the police. They've been involved, and that's when it got worse. So these residents are very reluctant to speak up, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. No one wants to have to live like that, and they shouldn't have to.
All right, I
So
just confirmed that it can be done either way, Matt. Municipalities have the option under state law to prohibit the issuance of permits or licenses for the sale and display of fireworks, RSA 160-B:10. Municipalities may also vote to prohibit the sale, display, or possession of permissible fireworks within their borders, which is RSA 160-C:6. And these decisions may be made by a vote of the legislative body, town meeting, or the governing body itself, such as Board of Selectmen.
So I guess and thank you for that, Lisa. That's kind of what I thought it would be. I guess I'd like to poll the board, again, not a binding motion. I'd like to poll the board if the board is in favor of us not doing anything about this right now, but allowing the resident, any resident, not allowing, but giving the opportunity for a resident or any residents to do a petitioned warrant article in March. So let me go around. Lisa?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Only because I feel for the resident that's speaking and for the other resident that we've heard from, but that's 2 residents that we've heard from out of 6,000 plus residents or voters. I would really like to see them move forward with it and then see what the voters have to say.
All right, Kate? Kate's on mute.
I think that would be appropriate to put it out that way. I was only going to make a suggestion. I read all the paperwork of all the towns, for example, Enfield, and that just to keep in mind, to keep it commensurate, like Dover, we're not like a Dover, like keep in mind the size of the town, the way our town is laid out, and protect, and it's up to you, of course, and put something forward that could work for that. Just a suggestion based on everything you just that I read.
Well, I'm not suggesting that they write the ordinance for us, but to have a warrant article that see if they will vote to have the selectmen develop a fireworks ordinance to prohibit or limit or whatever it is that they're looking for. And then the Board of Selectmen can write up the detailed ordinance
Because I know
to meet.
she did mention the Plastow ordinance, which is what they would hope to do.
Okay,
Right.
Charlie?
So in the letter that I'm sorry,
sorry.
this is Kim again. In the letter that I sent, I did cite that section that you stated, section 16B10. So all the information is in the letter, as well as I've sent several surrounding town ordinances if you wanted to use those examples for copies. Once a vote's taken, if that's the direction we're going in, you would have something to work from.
Okay, Charlie?
This is a hard one for me. I've shot many fireworks shows in Massachusetts. I shot Concord one time. I understand how Kimmy feels too, because it does bother the horses and it does bother the dogs. It bothers my. But I think what we should do is we should probably turn around and let them put the warrant article in, and then for us to do it. And then we look it over and we do it properly.
Okay, Larry?
So let me understand this. You want to put a warrant article in to allow the
we're not doing
residents to vote. Right. The residents put a warrant article in to allow the selectmen to do an ordinance, which we already have that power to do now. I'd rather see the details in the warrant article and let them pass the details of the warrant article, whether you're going to cap it, eliminate it, only on July 4th, or whatever.
Okay.
The warrant article will be a waste. We have that power now.
All right, so Kim, what I would tell you is what just happened is I just polled the board, so it wasn't a binding vote, but the majority of the board is in favor of not taking any steps. Unless somebody wants to make a different motion, the board has indicated they're not in favor of taking any steps as a board, and any resident has an option of doing a petition warrant article in March. Does that make sense to you? I think you're on mute, Kim. I think you're still on
Hello,
mute.
can you hear me? Can
Yeah,
you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I appreciate the candidness of the board, and I understand the discussion and where everyone's feeling about it. And I do understand that I am one of two people that have come forward. So I respect that. So I will work on a warrant article. So my understanding is the warrant article you would like, I think it was Larry who said you'd like to see the wording in it. So whether we restrict it to, certain days and hours. I know one of the ordinances out there said something about it was only allowed on the weekends and between certain hours or on 4th of July. So you want something like that? I just want to make sure I understand that correctly.
So, I mean, the only thing I would say to that is that's totally up to you. You're going to be presenting this to 25 registered voters to get it on the ballot. So it basically depends on what you think 25 registered voters are going to be in favor of to first get it on the ballot, and then how successful you think. So it's a do-it-yourself project essentially. So
Yep.
we as a board of selectmen can give you ideas or whatever as we've just done, but it's going to be up to you.
Okay.
Kim,
Yes.
Kim, one more thing. Once you do your warrant article, it could be tweeted at the public hearing when we have that. So, if you put 11, it can go down to 10. If you put 10, it can go up to 11. You just want to cover the basics in the warrant article, and it could be hashed out at the public hearing and finalized at the public hearing. Just to let you know, so you don't have to stress out over exact details.
Okay. All right, that's great. Thank you for that.
All right, great. So any other info you'd like to share with us before we move on?
I just want to know what the deadline for the submission is.
It's probably like February 20th.
Oh, geez. Okay, but if I was able to accomplish it sooner over the summer, we could get it on, or would we still wait until February?
No, it has to be on the town meeting, which is the second Tuesday of March.
So you could get signatures ahead of time and submit it whenever you have sufficient number of signatures. It's just, I think the latest that you would be submitting it would be no later than, say, mid-January, so that it has time. Actually, mid-December. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, and feel free to drop off if you want. We all have to stay, but you can drop off. So.
Okay,
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You too.
All right, I'm going to move on down the agenda here. C, fire rescue station update.
Let me see if I can. Why don't you go into something else? I'll see if I can get him on the phone.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Oh, you are?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah,
we can.
no, I've been here right along, listening.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm
All right,
freezing
quick
up,
on
but
the
I can
fire station
hear
update.
Mike, so-
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Real quick, fire station update. As you know, we ordered the tanks weeks and weeks ago. I excavated the hole last week, and we set the 3 tanks today. The tanks are on the. So we'll keep progressing from here. My suggestion would be on the fire station update from here on out. It was on the agenda for a long time because we were trying to go through a design period and issues with the fire sprinkling system and all the rest of it. Do you think we need this update, or do you guys just want to drive up the fire station and take a look? Or put somebody as one of the selectmen members to take a look at the progress of this thing?
What's the board think? I just want to know when it's done myself. I'm not gonna add anything by doing an inspection. But what's the rest of the board think?
I'm up there all the time, Matt.
I think when our construction manager has something to share, that's when it should be on the agenda.
Okay, I like that thought, because some of this stuff now is just gonna be minutia. You know what I mean? We'll start the piping from the tanks to the chamber. We've got to modify the chamber. There's a lot of pieces that will just plug along as we go. I think the next milestone will be when that's backfilled and the diesel pump is ordered, because we can't order the diesel pump until we have an actual elevation of finished floor to the bottom of that sump. It's critical. It's got to be within an inch or two. And then maybe the next one after that is when I start the foundations for the structure of the building. Just a couple milestones, and I'll hit you with those.
All right. Do we have an ETA for completion at this point?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So let me kind of summarize here, and the board can weigh in if they think it makes sense. So I would say the construction manager is okay. If any members of the board want to reach out to him and kind of meet him over there to take a look at what's being done, Mike, I think you're okay with that, right?
Yeah, I have no issues with that. Right.
Okay, great. And then what we'll do is, once you have, as Lisa said, once you have a firm, detailed update, completion update to give us, we'll put it on the agenda at that point. Does that make sense to everybody? I think
Yes.
silence is usually good. So, all right, cool. I'm good with it. Anybody else, any questions on this project? No? All right. So we'll probably all be in touch offline, Mike, but otherwise we'll plan on having a more formalized agenda when you're ready to talk about completion.
That'll work. I think that's simpler for everything, instead of just having this pop up as a reoccurring item on the selectmen's meeting list.
Right. Reoccurring nightmare, is that what you said?
Excuse me?
Did you say reoccurring?
Nightmare? Yeah, no, I'm living the nightmare, Matt.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Can I throw in, if I can't do it, just tell me I can't do it. I got one more thing that's not on the agenda. I got numbers in this weekend, and I don't want to let it go, are the paving numbers. I'd like to select a paving contractor for Thornell Road. If we got to wait till the next selectmen's meeting, I'll do it. But, scheduling is brutal right now.
Everybody okay with that? We'll do it tonight. All right, silence is good. So Mike, go ahead.
Okay. Let me get the sheet real quick, Matt.
Yeah.
I put this solicited like I usually do out to paving contractors, all qualified guys. This year I was pleased that all the numbers come back very close. A lot of times there's a big disparity, big range in these numbers when they come back, but this was very close. I'm suggesting this year we use Bell and Flynn. Brock's and Bell and Flynn were almost dollar for dollar. In the past 4 or 5 years, Brock's has been our contractor, and they do a good job. And I'm going to be completely candid, because I live on the other side of this. So I did a lot of work. At some point in time, if one contractor continually gets the work, it's demoralizing to the other guys that bid this year after year after year. And again, quality workmanship between Bell and Flynn and Brock's is really side by side. It's not a quality issue. Bell and Flynn's like $3,000 more than Brock's is. And believe me, I'm not a fan of paying anybody any more, but I'm also not a fan of picking low bidder. So I'm suggesting to the board that we award this not to exceed $220,000 to Bell and Flynn for Thornell Road.
So I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Charlie's the second. Any discussion? Let's go around. Kate, how do you vote?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Matt's and I. So we need to get this paperwork, obviously, Mike. I know it's hot off the presses, but just if we can get that in Diane and or Kim's hands tomorrow morning, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll get it there tomorrow. I can't tell you tomorrow morning, but I'll put it into a spreadsheet that's a little bit more understandable.
All right, that sounds good.
Mike, when do you expect to do it?
Right now, I've given the paving contractors until their bid specs was we're going to start the paving. Now that's not the work. There's a lot of drainage work. There's a lot of work a lot prior to the paving of this thing, but the paving's going to be done between August 17th and September 4th.
Oh, that ain't too bad.
No,
That's not too bad.
no, but I've got a lot of stuff to get done between
Oh, I know you do.
that and when that road gets paved.
All right. All right, so we let you come in with that unscheduled business. Anything else unscheduled you want to?
No,
do?
I'm not gonna push the. I'm good. Thank you, Matt.
All right, thank you. That's typically one of the chiefs are famous for that. They have the unscheduled stuff they sneak in. So you've been hanging with those two guys too long because they're teaching you how to sneak in agenda items.
Yeah, they probably are. You're right.
Right.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll let you go, Mike. I'm sure you don't want to hang around. So
No, thank you, guys. Everybody have a good night.
you too. Thanks.
too.
All right, bye-bye.
For the board's benefit, item D, I've asked the parties to push out to a future meeting because I think they need more information to give us. So I'm going to skip D, and I'm going to go right to E, the transfer station. I think, Charlie, you had something you wanted to share.
Yeah. You know what I'd like to do is I'd like to turn around and tell the towns that where we're taking their cardboard, or when we were taking the cardboard. But what I'd like to do is send them a letter and tell them that we continue taking the cardboard at $2 per resident on the 2020 census, and notify all them towns that we do take their cardboard, that we get a one lump payment. But we'd like to let them know now so that they could put it on their warrant, because their town may not vote for it.
So,
And
so
I
you're-
really wouldn't want to. Well, go ahead.
You're
Matt.
talking about non-Newton residents, right?
Right, not Newton resident, non-Newton. Kingston, I think Kingston, East Kingston, Southampton, and Kensington bring stuff into our transfer station. Well,
Yeah, right.
it's costing us money now to take their stuff for free. So what we should do is we should turn around and use the 2020 census and charge them $2 per resident. So, and then we give them a little sticker so that we know that they can come in and do it, drop off their cardboard. Because it's costing us to get rid of it. And it's going to be worse because most of it's hazardous material because it's got ink on it. That's why China's not taking it.
Wait,
Yeah.
didn't we stop this already?
Well, no, it's temporarily, I guess, temporarily on hold because of COVID-19.
Thank you, sorry.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So I guess what Charlie's talking about is a more permanent solution.
Correct. But don't take any until after their town votes on it.
Yeah, right.
If their town, all the way up until March, we don't touch their cardboard because it's costing us $600 a month.
What's the board think?
I agree that since there is a cost to the town of Newton, there should be a cost to non-Newton residents to bring the cardboard. I'm not so sure I agree with the sticker because we're charging the individual non-residents to bring cardboard, or we're charging the town the $2 per residents on the 2020 census for a lump fee. So either there's a lump fee, we take all the cardboard from any resident, or we're going to just put it on like the bulk item for non-residents and have a set fee for taking cardboard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. I think if we start from the concept point of view, I highly agree with the fact that we need to pass on the expense to these other towns. Does the
Yeah.
board agree with that from a concept that it's money out of our pockets for them to do stuff and they're not paying taxes? Everybody's okay from that standpoint?
Yes.
Correct.
Correct.
So that's like 5 yeses I heard there. So now we just got to figure out, and this isn't a bad thing, but now we just got to figure out how we're defining that expense and how we're collecting it. So.
If we charge $2 per resident and we use the town census, when the 2020 census, when they come out, so let's say Kingston has 6,000 people at $2, that's 12 grand. Southampton has 1,500, that's 3 grand. Kensington has 1,500, that's another 3 grand. So now we're looking at 18,000, and then the next town, which was Kensington, I think, or Southampton, they have about the same. We're picking up roughly around 20,000, and the cost is going to be to us right around 7,200. So we'd have more money in that account. Understand, Kingston turned around and they used to take our trash years ago, and we paid them $7 a ton back years ago. And fortunately, we got out of there before they ended up closing that. But when they closed that, Kingston ended up with $5 million. Now, they turned around and they built their library, they built the bridge on the New Boston Road, they built the barn, the $750,000 barn, highway department barn, and they built they're building the fire station. I mean, they took our money, we could take this.
So I think what I'm hearing is 2 ways of, getting the cost from the town. One is the kind of way Charlie is describing, with like a one-time payment from the town. Another way Lisa was describing was a kind of pay per volume. Resident pays per volume, right? Lisa, is that what you were kind of saying?
Right, one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to charge the whole town all at once. If you try and do it one at a time, that is going to be hard. How much do you charge?
Yeah,
so if they pay, a town resident from Kingston or another town pays once $2, that's all they're paying.
So so I think I tend to lean towards the kind of one-time payment. I don't know how you measure it. Charlie has an option there that might be to do it, but I do like the idea of the town of X writes us a check. Because I think it'd be hard to measure cardboard at the gate. We know, like, somebody brings an air conditioner, that's easy to measure, right? One air conditioner, $25 or whatever it is, and they drop it. Cardboard's a little different.
Now, we pay tonnage to ship the cardboard out, correct?
Believe so.
Yep.
All right, and we have not been taking in non-resident cardboard during COVID-19, correct?
Correct.
All right, so we should have a guideline or a starting point to look at what we did last year and what we did this year to get an idea of what the difference is between town cardboard and non-town cardboard. That would give us, because I don't want to be charging $12,000, for example, to Kingston if it's only costing us $6,000 to ship it out. We're not in the business to make money. We're in the business to run the town and not cost the taxpayers any more than we should.
Can I make a suggestion? We have a transfer station manager, And we are, for once in our lives, we're way ahead of this problem, I think. Right? Because it's July.
Oh, yes.
It's July. So could we basically agree that we're all in favor of charging towns something to reimburse us? Like Lisa said, we're not trying to make money. We're just trying to reimburse the costs that we're incurring. So could we ask Pete to come up with some numbers and perhaps even a recommended process to do this and talk about it in a future meeting? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Just want to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. Larry and Kate, you good with that plan?
I'm good. Yep.
Yes, good idea.
Okay. What about, you had under here non-residents bulk items? Was that a similar thing for you, Charlie, or is that a different topic altogether?
That's my
That's a
topic.
different topic.
Okay. So Diane.
So I got a call from Kingston wanting to know if we were ever going to take bulk items again. I said at this time I didn't know, and I would reach out to the board to find out what their thoughts were.
So I would echo my last statement. I would say we have a transfer station manager. We'll ask him to come up with a COVID-19 safe option to start taking it again. If he tells us it's not safe, there's no way to do it, then we keep doing that. What's the board think?
Agreed.
I'm here if you want to talk about it tonight.
Nice. Can we do it in a few minutes rather than?
Yeah.
What do you
Basically,
think?
bulk. I'm thinking bulk items. We take it as normal. Send out or have their town send out a memo that they need to wear a mask when they come in. Exact change only or a personal check. And that's really it. That would keep everybody safe down there, and we would start, bringing in more revenue for the offset of taxes.
And if we need a motion, I will make one.
So is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, Charlie's seconding it, and I need to hit myself right now because I'm about to say this. He mentioned masks.
Yeah.
These would be the
couple of my
only
guys
people.
brought it up.
These would be the only people we require masks of entering the transfer
Yeah.
station.
Yes, and that's something I brought up as a discourse at the transfer station between me and the team there. And I don't know how we can enforce one set of people to do it and not
No, we
another
can't
set.
either. Masks are required of all to enter the transfer station or of none. I mean, I do know there are several retailers that are now requiring masks. So it's not unheard of. I'm okay with requiring a mask to go. If you get out of the vehicle, you're required to have a mask on or some kind of face covering.
So,
I like that.
I'm sorry. I've had this meeting already this year, so we kind of went round and round on this. So I can kind of see where this is going. Would Lisa be open to a friendly amendment to take the mask part out of that motion?
Yes.
Is Charlie still a second?
They will need to maintain social distancing,
I think
just like everybody else.
I think we have that.
The start date of August 1st, which I believe is a Saturday. So that would give their town selectmen time to get the message out to everybody.
All
I
right.
accept that as part of the motion.
Charlie, are you still a second?
Yeah. I don't have a problem with the Kingston people out of town as they're coming in with that, wearing a mask, because these guys got to go out there and stand there with them. You know, and we're not protecting our guys if they're not wearing a mask. If they don't want to wear a mask, take it somewhere else. They can go to Epping.
But Charlie, we're not requiring Newton residents to wear masks.
That's right. And I've been down the transfer station, and quite a few people coming in still wear masks. There is an awful lot of people that don't wear masks, but they're the same people. There are Newton residents that these guys have dealt with, and they handle it good. But they don't know what's going on in the other towns. That's why I'm saying that part. And if they don't want to, they can always go somewhere else, right?
All right, so I think whatever that was back in April or May, we talked for like almost an hour about masks at the transfer station. And I believe it was 3-2 against requiring masks at the transfer station. I think I was one of the two. I don't want to have that debate again. It's an hour of my life I'm not going to get back again, as I like to say. So can we just take masks out of this motion and just move on with what we're trying to do here?
So to be clear, my motion is to open the Newton transfer station to receiving non-resident bulky items effective August 1st with the provision of exact change or personal check only.
I'll second that. That's with no mask, correct?
There was no mask in that motion.
So
I'll
Larry's
second that.
Larry's the second. Discussion. Kate?
Just want to make sure. So, Pete, by doing this, it's not costing Newton money, correct?
Correct.
And
Correct.
you
Bulk
want
items
to do this.
cost,
Okay. Just want to make sure there's nothing I missed.
we charge for bulk items, both for Newton residents and non-residents. I believe it's a slightly larger fee for the non-residents, but there is a fee for bulky items. So it doesn't cost us to accept it.
I want to make sure everyone knows that. Okay. And anyway.
All right. So roll call vote. Larry, how do you vote?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Matt's an aye. So I will just leave it at this. The governor today announced, and this is our COVID meeting. I don't want to ruin the COVID meeting for tomorrow, but the governor announced an ad campaign to wear masks. It's not a requirement, but an ad campaign to wear masks in public places when you cannot social distance. The president of the United States says it's patriotic. So if I'm going to the transfer station and I'm getting out of my vehicle, I'm wearing a mask, and I think everybody else should. And can we leave this topic now? Kate, do you have something to say?
I completely agree. It's our only giant gathering space in Newton at present, so I couldn't agree with you more.
Exactly. So,
I agree too.
And
Okay.
I agree with stressing we strongly recommend wearing a mask.
All right, so G is next Board of Selectmen meeting.
Wait, what?
So I think we've typically skipped the first one in August. All those in favor say aye.
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 So we will still have a COVID meeting that week, but we just won't have a normal Board of Selectmen meeting, right? Is that what you wanted, Diane?
Yes, August 4th.
Yeah.
You're not meeting?
Oh.
Correct.
Okay.
So everybody take the night off.
And that's because typically the board does one meeting a month for July and August, kind of like a summer break.
Exactly.
Haven't had that this year.
Yep. So we get to stay at home and not go anywhere.
We get to have dinner.
We get to have dinner. That's a new concept. All right, so under other business, town hall possible reopening date. I saw the email summary today. It looks like, Mary Jo, you have your new glass or whatever. So are you comfortable at this point with doing the delayed start on the reopening plan?
I'm good with opening on Monday morning.
Monday?
I am starting to take appointments on Monday. We need to get the whole through the door thing stopped, and that's going to take a day or two. plus Mondays are crazy, so we're gonna take Monday to do appointments, e-badges, whatever's left in the door, and you know what's coming in that way. And then when they start calling Monday for appointments, we'll start setting them up for the rest of the week. And we're pretty good
That's
with,
good news.
yes, please.
So if the board is okay with that, do we want to direct Diane to post that to the website?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Everybody good with that?
I'm thinking though, we're supposed to have signs. I saw Tush today, and I'm thinking the signs, because of what we're requiring people, and what I understand we are requiring masks in the whole 9 yards, whatever that bullet list is supposed to get on the door. And I'm hoping that gets on the door by Monday.
Yeah, I don't know. This is sort of a question for tomorrow night's people, I think.
I'm going to do this anyway. I don't care if I have to tack up a piece of paper that says this
Yeah.
is what we're doing. You know, just it needs to happen.
So I guess if the board's okay with it, we can tell Diane and Mary Jo to talk. And when they're both comfortable, Diane can let the cat out of the bag, so to speak.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Cat out of the bag. Ooh, not
Exactly.
good.
Yeah. I don't like cats. I'm more of a dog person. All right. So we're good with that. Any other questions? Any other info in regards to this town hall reopening that we need to do tonight? Because we have tomorrow night too. No, we're good.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I mean, I was going to ask about a little future thing, but I'll leave future thing for the future, because I know you're home and I want to finish my wine.
Sounds good. I did not know that wine was allowed in these meetings. So you learn something new every night. Do we want to do the manifests? Anybody have that ready to go?
Lisa did.
I did.
Oh, come on.
I got it. Hang on. I will move to sign the payroll manifest for pay period July 4 through 18, 2020, with a pay date of July 23, 2020.
Second.
Seconded by Kate. We'll do a roll call vote. Larry?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
And Matt's an aye. Unanimous.
Yippee.
There is no
That's all.
vendor. There's no vendor manifest. You'll have one next week.
Get out of
July
town.
28th.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. So we'll do that. We can do that at the COVID meeting next week.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Do we have any announcements? No. Okay. How about some approval of minutes for July 15th? Looks like just the public.
I move to approve the Selectmen's public meeting minutes dated July 15, 2020 as written.
Second.
Seconded by, was it Larry? No, Charlie?
Yep.
All right. So it was Charlie. Let's go around. Larry?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
And Matt? So that's unanimous. Anybody want to unseal any minutes for any reason? No? Anybody want to adjourn?
Mr.
I move to adjourn at 8.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Time out. It sounds like the chief. Chief El Camino.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, just quick. After we had our conversation yesterday in regards to one of the things I was bringing up, in regards to the driveway laneway requirements that was brought up a couple of months ago, I went to the planning board. Planning board said for the fire department to make it up. Since the town has already adopted NFPA standards, everything the town does on the fire side, the requirement follows NFPA guidelines. Does that have to go to the Board of Selectmen to vote on, to adopt those guidelines? Or since the town already adopted NFPA, the fire department can just say this is part of our policy on what we require for new construction?
I'm gonna say easy answer. We should just bring it to a meeting and vote on it to, just so there's no question.
Okay,
So you're talking a future meeting, right?
right. I didn't realize the board was going to take almost a month because there are some proposed new construction coming into town that I was hoping to already start the laneway driveway. But okay,
Yeah, so work with Diane, because we can sneak it into the COVID meetings, because those are meetings and they're advertised.
So, but I think the town's already accepted the NFPA standards, and it's part of the standards. What is there to accept? I'm not sure. I follow.
I'm just saying that, so
Yeah.
there's no question we might want to call it out specifically in the minutes and do it, but I tend to agree with that. I tend to agree with it. If it's a standard, we're probably okay, but.
And he can let the planning board know now so that they can inform everybody coming in with subdivisions that they have to meet them standards.
for the board, I emailed the administrative assistant with, on department letterhead with my signature saying this is the fire department's new requirements for laneways and driveways on the NFPA. So they already have it. From what I gathered, was they kicked it to the board because they weren't sure. The fire department enforces it, but they weren't sure on, I guess, who votes on it, if it even needed to be voted on.
Yeah.
But not a problem. We can do it at the next meeting.
All right, great. So Lisa did make that motion, right?
To adjourn at 8:19 p.m.
All right, so is there a second?
Second.
All right, like I like to say, we're all in favor. There's no dispute on that one. So everybody have a good night, and tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, we'll talk about COVID-19. So.
I won't be there tomorrow night. It's
All right.
soup kitchen.
We'll